Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie. For those who don't know me, reviewing Married at First Sight episodes 21 and 22. Sorry I wasn't here yesterday. Life, okay? Before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. So I'm just gonna briefly go through what happened in the previous episode and then talk about today's episode. So the couples who are doing well are Jesse and Claire, Evelyn and Rupert, Tani and Ollie, allegedly Bronte and Harrison, and then Melinda and Leighton. They say they're doing well, but there's a lot of sugarcoating happening in their relationship, so the experts just encourage them to, how do I explain it? So definitely they tend to agree to disagree, which means that they're always butting heads, and then they don't actually resolve the issue. They just decide that we like each other enough not to worry about that issue. So they're saying do a little bit less of agreeing to disagree, and actually try to talk through the issues, find a compromise, find a middle ground, because there's two strong-headed, strong-willed, all of that people coming in, and we're not getting to any kind of resolve. So yeah, on to Sandy and Dan. They hit the couch, and now Dan is finally accepting that yes, those things were said. Yes, I'm not attracted to, did he admit to not being attracted to Sandy? I don't think he did.
And then you said we'd take sex off the table because it makes me too emotional.
You said that you were not sexually attracted to Sandy.
Yeah.
Trying to understand what the end game is for being physically intimate so shortly after such a strong statement of not really wanting to go there.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He says, well, Sandy was calling him out for pulling away from her, and he just doesn't recall. He doesn't think that that's what he did. But Alessandra was asking, how do you turn around your sexual attraction to somebody overnight? It just doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me either. I wonder, was she just somebody who was around and he needed a sexual fix and he used Sandy for it? Was he trying to forge attraction by just engaging in sex? He claims that they had a great day and things just escalated, and I'm like, no. When I'm not sexually attracted to somebody, that's it. That's it. There's no, oh, well, things just escalated. Nothing like that. He does keep going on saying that her ocean water allergy is a deal breaker for him, but John. His name is John, right? Not Paul. Anyways, the experts were basically like, that's BS. Don't be looking for stupid reasons not to find compatibility with somebody. But either way, Dan and Sandy both decided to leave the experiment. Lyndall and Cameron had a rough week with their different perspectives on intimacy, when it's appropriate or inappropriate or whatnot. And basically, Lyndall's annoyance with Cameron is the fact that he doesn't understand that her yearning for affection doesn't equate insecurity, and she would have wanted Cameron to understand that between the two of them, but more so between him and his mom.
And what were the insecurities that she said Lyndall had?
It was just about
needing affection.
I know this is your first relationship. There are different ways to tell it the way that it is.
I ask for pretty much less than bare minimum, and I'm sitting here having to justify that I'm not insecure.
I definitely don't think it's an insecurity for somebody to ask for affection, especially when it's like you guys were off the heels of a disagreement, like she wasn't feeling good. For me, even if physical touch or something like that isn't your go-to, you'd want to comfort somebody. You'd want to console them in some kind of way. So I too would be looking at you like, why don't you want to come near me and give me a hug or whatever? Like, that is like, what? And then for the mom to say, oh, Lyndall is exhibiting insecurities, you would want your partner to have your back in those conversations and to say, no, I know her, I misunderstood the situation, this is what she meant, and we're doing whatever it takes to mend the relationship or something like that. You know what I mean? So I definitely understand Lyndall's perspective. Cameron promised again to do better, to show up more, and to engage in intimacy, even though it's foreign for him. So they both decided to stay. Alyssa is concerned that Duncan may be overwhelmed with the reality of dealing with a single mother.
Are you concerned that this is not going to work when the experiment is over?
Yeah, totally I'm concerned.
Has Duncan said or done anything to make you believe that it won't work with your child?
No, it's my own insecurity.
Honestly, Duncan is handcrafted, okay? And later on in this episode, I'm going to talk about how Alyssa is actually showing insecurities, unlike Lyndall, in my opinion. However, I do kind of see why she would feel like Duncan is just too good to be true, and maybe there are things that actually do bother him, but he just wants to be the perfect husband, you know? I have yet, unless y'all have seen something, I have yet to see a fault with Duncan. The fault is that he's just too good. He's just too perfect. And so I think in my head, it would start to mess with me, and I'd start to think, well, he's got to have an issue with me being a mom then. Or he's got to have an issue with my religious background. Or he's got to have an, like, you have to find something where it's like, where is the folly in Duncan? Where is it? There's no way this man is infallible. There's just no way. So Taylor thought that because Hugo had said some nasty things about her on a guy's night out, that he would be the one getting a lot of the flack from the experts, when in fact, she received a lot of criticism herself.
Taylor, do you think your behaviour towards Hugo suggests that you like him?
I do like Hugo.
How?
Because you guys don't see what happens behind closed doors.
He doesn't see it. What behaviours do you think you're doing that is responsible for this relationship issue?
I don't know.
That's your problem.
She doesn't feel like she is in the wrong when it comes to their relationship. She thinks that a lot of their issues stem from Hugo, and that she's actually the one putting in the effort. You make him sleep on the floor. You say you don't find him attractive. Like, where's the effort, sis? You let him pick shows that you guys want. Like, it's almost like, no, not even almost. I was about to say it's almost like she treats him like a dog, but she literally compared him to a dog in previous episodes. And not dog as in like grimy, but dog as in like lap dog. So I'm just like, Taylor girl, please, let's be for real. Let's be for real. You do not want to be in this marriage. She did write leave, but Hugo wrote stay, so they stayed. I'm like, you don't want to be in this marriage. You're not putting in an effort. I think you're just seeing it through for the sake of seeing it through. Maybe just to get your stipend or something, or maybe to have a platform after the show. But girl, don't fake like you like this man, because you do not. So on the retreat, Hugo is struggling with the fact that there is a lack of sexual chemistry or sexual pursuit between him and Taylor. And boy, he overhears something that does not make it any better.
I've got the biggest sex bag anyone would ever see. Like, my ex and I, we would pound town every day. I mean, well, he messaged me the other day. Phone sex, I guess.
So Taylor is sexting her ex, which, yes, is bad. But then I'm also like, dang, it must suck to be Hugo, because he's trying to make these advances towards Taylor as a husband. And she's like, oh, I'm just not feeling it. I'm not whatever. But then shares with the women that she actually does have a high sex drive and basically cannot live without physical intimacy. So you wonder, where are you getting it from then? If it's not with Hugo, it's got to be with somebody. I guess the sexting, maybe that's what's holding her over, but oof, that sucks. That was definitely a blow to Hugo's ego. But Hugo, let's be for real. She's not attracted to you. We know this. You know this. So sex is not going to be on the table anytime soon or ever. So Harrison, along with all of us, don't believe that this butt dial really happened, but Evelyn is standing 10 toes down.
I just didn't like how he called me a liar. He thought the butt dial was fake. He called me and was like, this is how he
You staged a butt dial.
The butt dial happened.
It did, Harrison.
Yeah, it did actually happen.
I can't trust you.
Oh my God.
I mean, okay, so I have butt dialed somebody too. And I have an iPhone, it has the Face ID. I have butt dialed somebody, it happens. But it's typically a muffled conversation, or it just sounds like white noise. So I'm just like, how did you hear everything so clearly? The only viable scenario that I can think of is that it was Rupert who went to Evelyn and told her everything that happened. However, he didn't want to seem like a snitch, or he didn't want to seem like he's talking bad about the guys, so they allowed Evelyn to take the fall for it. And she's okay with that, obviously, because she's very outspoken, very vocal. But I'm just like, yeah, I can understand why Harrison says, I don't feel like I can trust you, because there's no way the butt dial happened. And him simulating the butt dial obviously confirmed there's no way the butt dial happened. So the only reason that makes sense, or the only reasoning that makes sense, is that Rupert told Evelyn. I don't know why they don't want to accept that, but they're sticking to their story. The women then turn their attention to Bronte because they're trying to enlighten Bronte on the fact that her husband is very problematic. But Bronte, that's her man, and she gonna stick beside him.
You or Harrison have like been mumbling like something under your breath.
It's not even just disagreeing. It's just because him and we have a lot to say. And I'm never going to be able to control him. I will always have his back, no matter what. Harrison's emotionally manipulating me. That's what I see.
Listen, the fact that Bronte, so let's just put our belief that a lot of these people are acting aside. Let's take Bronte like for real. The fact that Bronte allowed this man to have women on the outside, somehow he was able to ration himself out of that situation. The rationale just made sense to her. I don't know why, but it did. And then he sexually gaslit her because he was constantly saying, I'm so attracted to you, I want to take you down, all this kind of stuff. They engaged sexually and all of a sudden he's not attracted to her. Crazy. Emotionally gaslights her, making it seem like he's the one putting in the effort and she's the one pulling away. And how can he fully be engaged in this relationship if she is not in it in the way that he is? I'm just like, after all these things, you can see that Bronte's lost in the sauce and there's no saving her. She's like one of those women who, you know, a woman who knows her husband ain't shit, but because she loves him, she's gonna take everything that he does and says as gospel, and there is nothing you can say for her to turn away from him unless she decides she's gonna turn away from him. That's Bronte. There was nothing anybody can say to convince her that Harrison is not a good husband. The fact that her best friend was even saying, I don't rock with Harrison, and she still was like, that's my man. You ladies, you're wasting your breath. The next day, Bronte is still very annoyed at the women for basically insinuating that she was naive, because how dare you attack her? She knows her husband. She knows him. There's no way that Harrison could be a bad guy. There's just no way.
Being called naive by Melinda, it's really upset me. I thought that Harrison was love bombing me, gaslighting me. I wouldn't be here.
Listen, interventions never go well. I mean, okay, no, that's a lie. Interventions often don't go well, especially if the person themselves doesn't see themselves as being in a bad situation. Bronte doesn't think her husband is a bad guy. So why y'all ladies thought ambushing her was gonna be a good idea, and I don't think it was meant to be an ambush. It just kind of turned into it. It wasn't gonna end well. It just wasn't. So yeah, not surprised that she's gonna stick by her man. That's the theme for the rest of the night. I honestly don't want to talk about it for the rest of the episode because it was the same conversation over and over again. But in the next episode, she's gonna ask the group how they feel. And I hope that they are honest, because everybody knows Harrison is full of it. So in a surprising turn of events, Alyssa is having an issue with Duncan because she feels like throughout the retreat so far, he's been ignoring her.
I think this is the first conversation we've had today.
I thought you wanted to spend more time with the girls. If I'm not reading this right, tell me.
Okay, Duncan, it's my fault.
It's not your fault. I'm not upset with you. You're upset with me.
I don't understand why Duncan can't apologize and give me what I need.
Can I argue?
No.
Now, this is where I have to say Alyssa is insecure. Because Alyssa has issues with Duncan that Duncan doesn't even know are issues. In the Lyndall situation, it wasn't as if Lyndall was harboring something that she felt like she couldn't say to Cameron and then just bursted on him. And also the point in which she asked for affection, like, it made sense. Alyssa has been holding on to this whole Duncan is ignoring me. She had ample opportunity throughout the day to request for affection from him, to request for attention from him. He thought, we're at a retreat, You probably want to hang out with your girls. I want to hang out with my boys. We're going to see each other in the night. He didn't think it was an issue, right? So Alyssa, I don't know, like she makes situations that don't need to be a situation. It was the whole intimacy thing in the beginning. Like she was very in her head about consummating the marriage. And then it was the, oh, you're gonna have a problem with me having a daughter after he told you it's not an issue. And then now it's this, you're ignoring me when he wasn't ignoring you. And then he even offered to be more affectionate with her and she declined. So it's like, girl, what do you want? In the evening, the guys are talking about everything that's going on and Duncan is releasing his frustration because he's like, I don't understand how we got here.
He said, I heard you're upset with me. And I was like, what did you hear? He's like, why don't you tell me yourself so I don't have to guess? I'm sorry you feel that way.
So he gaslit you? Are you freaking kidding?
I apologised, understanding that she's upset. I'd promised her that I would look after her heart in this experiment.
I don't get any actual like affirmation or confirmation from him that it's going to work.
Yeah, dealing with Alyssa must be exhausting. She seems to be an overthinker. Girl, you me same. Okay, yeah. I know those struggles. She's an overthinker, so she's in her head about a lot of stuff, and it doesn't matter the kind of reassurance that she gets from Duncan. As soon as she believes it, it's the truth. So yeah, that's really frustrating, and it sucks to see Duncan struggling to connect with Alyssa when there shouldn't be an issue. There should not be an issue. She's just creating issues in her mind, and they're turning into real issues that shouldn't have been there in the beginning. So yeah, we'll see how they resolve this situation. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.